So I'll go ahead and do 3, 2, 1 and get started. Hey, this is Cleo at CleoYogaFinance.com, and welcome back for another episode of Financially Free with Cleo, a show where we shift mindsets with real and raw money conversations with everyday people, empowering you to take action, appreciate the journey, and live the lifestyle you desire financially, mentally, and physically. Today's special guest is Ashley Smith. She is the owner of Kelli Fierce Fitness and founder of the online Fierce Fit and Flex method. She is a NASM certified personal trainer and precision nutrition coach who specializes in helping career-focused women lose fat and gain strength. Her flexible nutrition method has led to tons of women all over the US achieving success with their health, nutrition, and fitness goals. This method was designed to show women a more sustainable and realistic approach without playing the elimination game with their favorite foods. Welcome to the show, Ashley. How are you?
Thank you, Cleo. I'm amazing. Thank you so much for having me. That was awesome.
Yes. Well, I'm excited for you to be here. I've been following you for years, and I always love how you teach us about fitness and nutrition. So I definitely am excited about sharing that with everyone today. But of course, we would love to know more about you and how you started. So of course, I'm taking it back to the childhood. So if you could just tell us how you grew up and how you first learned about money.
Ooh, when you asked me to do this podcast, I was like, are you sure you want to talk to me? Because I don't have all the right answers, when it pertains to this topic. But I'll honestly say that I never learned about money growing up. And I always give my parents so much grace. And I always believe that people are doing the best that they can. At this age, I've learned that. But I have never had the money talk or learned, outside of just how to count like your quarters, your nickels, your dimes and stuff like that in grade school. But I've honestly probably didn't learn about money until the hard way, which was when I got my first job. It was like a camp counselor or something like that. And I remember putting my check into, putting the check into the account, because I think you had to share like a parent's account or something, or my mom was on the account. And I got my money. I spent all my money on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then Monday rolls, the money is still showing in the account. But guess what, Cleo? There was no money there. I spent it. But back then it took a while for banks to clear things. So my first honest experience where it hit me hard was putting my account in the negative, because I spent it all over the weekend and I had no idea that it was taking time to process. So I know that's like, I don't know if anyone else has had something similar, but that's my story.
I definitely have, because, we don't understand that stuff back then, that, hey, just because it says that's your available balance, it doesn't mean that that's what you have to spend. And yeah, we know we just spent over the weekend, but our minds is thinking that I spent it, so it must have been taken out. So this is what I have left. So I can relate. I've had those experiences too. And even I've had those conversations with my mom, how I even still, will remind her that if she goes online, like how we used to call and check our balance, but now we just pull up the mobile app, and I tell her, make sure, it may say this is available. They've gotten quicker now, but still you got to make sure, is that your real available balance? So I learned the same way.
Yes. It hit me hard. And the funny thing is, I remember learning how to balance a checkbook, but it was just something so difficult about that to me. I'm like, who's sitting down and doing that? But, but that was my first experience. It took some constant times of like, putting my hand on the stove to get burned to like, okay, so it takes a little bit of time for this money to come out. I got it now.
Yeah. And the checkbook, that sounds like so ancient now when you think about a checkbook, because even nowadays, like when you get like a new account with a bank, most of them will ask you, do you want checks, instead of automatically, giving you checks. And at this point, I don't even remember the last time I wrote a check, but I have had times, like when I used to live in Colorado,
Mm-hmm.
I got a speeding ticket. And when I went to go pay it in person, for some reason, they only was going to accept a
A check.
check. And I was like, well,
That's
I don't have
weird.
any checks. And they was like,
Right.
well, you can get a money order. And I was just like, so it's like these random,
Mm-hmm.
once in a lifetime, I guess, type of situations where they may still ask for a check. But for the most part, it's just all online, which is good.
Exactly. Yeah, it is good. It is good. I've learned a lot from it being online and how, like you said, it's a lot faster with the
Mhm.
processing. But yeah, I'm still like on my learning money journey or
Yeah.
learning money and finances journey, even
Yeah.
at 35, to be honest with you.
Yeah. And when you mentioned that, you was like, do I really want to talk to you? It's like, I like to, like, I think some people thought, I only wanted to have conversation with other like money people. And I'm
Hmm.
still a work in progress. So even us, people who, are in like the financial industry, like stuff change all the time. And
Hmm.
always have to keep updated. Just like, in your
In
field in
fitness,
fitness, it's
I'm
like you
still
always
learning.
have to, yeah. So it's like you always have to learn, like, like in your personal life and professional life. But
Hmm.
I like to have the conversations with people from different industries because we're all dealing with money on, personal level and
Hmm.
professional level. And even though we're still learning, I always still feel like other people could learn from, our experiences, the good
Very
ones
true.
and
And the bad
the
ones
ones that, yeah, was
that
not
are
so
like,
good.
but
Not so good.
they definitely help shape and mold us, especially if we're taking those learning lessons the way we should to evolve from them. So,
Yeah, most definitely. So speaking of those money decisions, so what do you feel like so far is your best money decision?
so I
Okay.
would say the biggest one was probably the scariest one, which was investing in business mentorship.
Mm.
It was like, oh, you want me to give you all that money? Like I looked at that number as this like massive amount, and I'll tell you the number. It was it was $5,000,
Mhm.
and but I went into it thinking that it was like $3,000. But
Mm.
the woman that was doing the coaching, she had such great feedback and response that her prices shifted or went up when I decided to
Mm.
uh, enroll in the program. So it went up to like 5,000. I'm like, well, okay, I was prepared for this. I like wrapped my head around the 3,000, and
Mhm.
then it went up to five. I was like, okay. And at that point, I was so determined to do what I needed to do for my business, to do what I needed to do to learn from someone that was going to give me a clear roadmap.
Mhm.
That I was like, okay, well, I can't do that. Is there a payment plan? And I'm thinking
Yeah.
it's still going to be 5,000, just kind of split up. It's like, yeah, the payment plan is 6,000, like because we're splitting it. And I
Yeah.
understand that, there's a little interest on it. I was like, okay.
Mhm.
So I did go into it betting on myself with a certain amount already there. But the remaining, I knew I had to show up and do what I needed to do before that last payment came through. And that's how so it's someone else could say, oh, you went into it without having it. So I say it's like a little bit of both. It was a good decision because it has brought me to where I am now.
Mhm.
And it was the largest investment that I made at the time, and it's led me to where I am now. And I don't even look at that number as like a large number now. I'm like, oh, that's it for, like you're conditioned
Mhm.
to what you are really wanting to invest in. And it's nothing. So that was probably like one experience that stands out to me the most.
Yeah, I'm glad you shared that because I've had similar experiences because, I wasn't used to paying that much money for anything, any
Oh,
type of like
to a person?
educational, right?
To a
And
person?
yeah, like really that much? Like I would see other people's, like when I first started the entrepreneurship life, of course, most of us, we start, trying to, learn stuff ourselves. We're watching videos and reading books and blogs and
Piecing it
watching,
together.
yeah, trying to put out together. But you do get to a point where you're like, okay, free is only going to take me so far.
Yep.
And plus, you do need a professional to kind of help you either one-on-one or in a group setting to really like level up. So
Hmm.
the first time I like invested into a program, like when you said that $3,000 number, that was almost like I paid $2,600 the first time I did a program. But even that 2,600, I was like, I guess I had these negative thoughts behind it, like, should it really be worth this
Is
much or
it worth
cost this
it?
much?
Why
But
are
then
they
when you
charging that
go through
much?
but when you go through the program and then you start building your own services, you start to realize, now you see how there are people whose programs are thousands of dollars, and now you see why they're priced at what they're at, because it's like your time, your expertise, and just a whole bunch of other stuff,
The accountability, the
Uh-huh.
mindset, all of those things are so invaluable. Like, I think that's what I'm trying to say. Invaluable, like it's worth it. It's priceless. You know what I mean? Especially if you put in the work.
Yeah.
I totally agree. I was going to say something else. It's probably going to come back to me in a second when you keep talking.
And I feel like the more I invest in myself, now I don't look at it as, I mean, yeah, I consider cost of programs or courses I buy, but now I'm like, okay, how is this going to help me? Because I know I'm going to get a return on this. If I feel like this program is for me, I know it's going to help me do better personally or professionally or both.
Yeah.
So we're investing in ourselves. So that's why I try to think of it that way, is that I'm investing time and money into myself, and I'm going to be better because of it, because I'm taking this program because I'm trying to create my own programs for other people to
Exactly.
invest in
Exactly.
themselves, so I can help people in, what I'm trying to do. So it is scary. I had those same thoughts, but I think as we grow and learn, we start to realize that, everyone has to invest in themselves at different levels of life. And even
Definitely.
though you get a little nervous or scary, we push
Yeah.
through it and realize, you know what, I think that was the best decision I could have made.
Yeah, you definitely have to have skin in the game for any process, because if it's something that you don't see as like that, like it's a little scary, but you're excited to show up for it, chances are you won't. You'll just be like, which is also why I price my programs at where they are, because it generally requires most people to level up. You know what I mean? It's not too high, but it's definitely at a place where it's like, okay, I'm really about to do this, And I wanted to mention, my thought came back. It's so interesting how when it was time to invest in myself in something that I'm doing personally for myself, for my business as well, was like, $6,000. I don't know. But when this is funny, when we were enrolling in college and they're like, oh, you're getting all these loans. It was like, sign it away. Isn't it crazy how like our mindset just
Yes.
$6,000 versus I think one loan for student loans, like one of the smaller ones is that amount. And it was, so it's just crazy how our mindset, how we're taught to think about the investments that we make, especially when it, relates to entrepreneurship versus like school and college. And, for some of us that aren't even working in our fields, and we just look at that number as like,
Yep. I'm glad you brought that up, because I was thinking about how much I paid for school, and my degree is in accounting. And I remember at one point I wanted to be like, go to graduate school, like a master's of accountancy program, be a CPA, but that changed. So there's like, I mean, yeah, it's still in financial, but like, I don't want to be like an accountant.
accountant.
But it is crazy how it does change. But I do think about how much money I spent, like, currently student loans is my last debt that I have to pay off. And when I think about that, and then how much I invest in programs, and then I think about, man, if I would have just went straight to investing in a program.
No, I have those thoughts too. It's funny, the mentor that I invested in, she's actually using some analytics to compare, like for students, for kids that don't want to go to college. Maybe they already know they want to be a coach of some sort, like comparing the price of the investment of her program. And I'm kind of in between, because I do believe college is important. I just think that the ticket for it is, far beyond what it should cost for the average person just trying to continue education, but I do see something there. It's like, if you're not going to want to go, do college, or if that's just not for you, then yeah, investing in yourself and starting. Some people know that pretty on, especially this generation now, or the younger generation, when it comes to social media, because they're seeing so many different ways to be successful, and not just the way we were told, like after college, after high school, you go straight to college. It's like, well, what am I gonna do? I don't know. you just go to college. That's all
Right.
you can do. Okay, I'm going to college.
Yeah. And those are conversations I have with my daughter because I'm not the type of parent where I'm like, you have to go to college. Like, I'm like, look, and I don't think college is a waste either. I feel like it depends on what you want to really do.
Yeah,
Like,
you need
there are
doctors.
some jobs where like you have to go to college,
Dentists,
like,
doctors, engineers, we need those people still, you know?
yeah.
Hmm.
But then it's like, and then there's some fields where you don't necessarily have to have a degree, but there are ways it can still help you. So I'm the type, I'm like, look, think about what you want to do. Think
Hmm.
about college, think about being an entrepreneur, going another route, just figure out what's best for you. That's
Yeah.
what I want people to do. And I think more people should have conversations about both sides versus
Hmm.
telling people college is a waste of time. Don't go to college, or
Agreed.
go to college and don't do the other stuff. I think people should talk to kids about both and letting them decide what they want to do.
What they
'Cause it's their
like to
life.
do, what they enjoy doing. That's the piece that I like. It's like no one ever asked me, well, what do you like to do? And if
Mhm.
someone asked me that at the age, I probably would be like, well, I like to talk to people. And then you could like brainstorm or figure out, okay, well, you can do this, you can do that. And it probably would have ended up like counseling or something. And maybe that's not what I wanted to do. But at least that would have been, encouraged to look into something that you actually enjoy.
Yeah, that's true. And I don't think anyone asked me that either. But
Hmm.
now that you said that, I think more of us should have those conversations, not just with the younger kids, but even us adults too, because we get to points in life where we have been doing something for a long time and
Yep.
we just get to a point where like, we're not interested in it no more. We want to pivot and do something else. And
Yep.
that's something else I talked to my daughter about. We were watching this news segment one time and it was like 4 or 5 people that had these really great successful careers,
Hmm.
but they hated it and just didn't want to
They
do
were
it anymore and wanted to do
unfulfilled.
something else. And she's like, why is everybody quitting their jobs and wanting to do something else? And I had to explain to her that's just how life is. Like there are some people who do the same thing all their lives, but there's a lot of people, especially nowadays, you do something for 5 years, 10 years, and you like, you know
You need
what?
to pivot.
It was great, but now I think I want to do something else. And that's something that I experienced, which is one reason why I started this podcast and doing the financial coaching was like, I was like, I really want to do something that I actually like to do, enjoy doing, and not saying that every day is just easy and
Hmm.
perfect, but overall, like you want to enjoy the stuff. Like when you wake up every day, you want to have been excited about the stuff that you're doing. I think it makes it easier to go through the tough days too.
100%. Cleo, I went to school for biochemistry, but my career path was to become a cosmetic chemist. And I was working in the industry and that's a shirt. Normalize pivoting, normalize the pivot because I do think that we are taught that you have like once you pick something, you have to stick with it. And I still struggle with that. I always say I'm super loyal, like I'll work for a company, I wouldn't leave them. I'm like, but I don't like it, I hate it. And I never forget when my sister, and she stayed in the same industry, but she was the type that would switch jobs. And my parents would say, she's always switching jobs. It was just like she was going against the grain back then. And
Mm-hmm.
now that my husband and I are in, I pivoted to becoming a nutrition and fitness coach, personal trainer. And the same as him, like he'll pivot companies, like he'll do whatever he needs to do to continue growing, to continue
Mm-hmm.
happiness. And I think that's okay. But I feel like at one point we were told like, no, you just pick one thing. And it's like, why do we have to do that? We're
Mm-hmm.
humans and we're continuously evolving with age and just different life journeys. So I agree with that. Keep telling your daughter, like, it's okay, you know,
Mm-hmm.
every 5 years, if like as long as you have some, consistency with it, it's not super chaotic, but at the same time, it's okay if you want to switch a company or if you start to want to, like you said, bring in finance, like you do yoga and finance. I've never heard of that, but it's like, why can't they be combined at this point? Do it.
Yeah. I remember having a conversation with someone here in the Dallas area a couple of years ago, uh, almost 3 years ago, maybe. And I was at the beginning of trying to decide, should I focus on yoga and then start the money stuff later? Or should I start the money stuff and do the yoga later or do both? And she was like, well, why can't you do
Do
both?
both.
Because, you hear people say, you shouldn't try to start a whole bunch of things all at the same time. You should start with one, focus on it, and then add stuff later.
Mm-hmm.
But then I meet people that are like, you know what? I was doing 3-4 different things all at the same time, and it worked for me. So I do get, it just depends on the person and what type of work that you're doing. But I just went ahead and did it together, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna just do it together. And the people that are for me are gonna be there to either work with me or support and listen and watch the stuff that I'm doing. So I'm just glad that I started, but I'm still learning and growing though.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. So I would love to know, what do you feel like is one of your biggest lessons learned when it comes to money? Like maybe one of your challenging experiences, or an experience you would consider like a bad experience.
Are you saying one of my biggest lessons learned?
Yes.
Okay. To not be afraid of money, to not be afraid of the number. It's just a number. It's just a number. Like, and I know this is common with a lot of people because I hear them not subconsciously, I hear them say it, but they're not understanding what they're saying. They're like, I just don't look at my account. And I'm like, you're running from the number. And I was that person too. But I just go into it of like, if it's a high number, look at it, stare at it, feel what, or embrace the feelings that you're getting from that moment. If it's a low number, hell, if it's in the negative, whatever, look at it, embrace those feelings of like, okay, I don't like this feeling, but it doesn't mean that you have to be afraid of it. Just understand that, okay, this is where I don't want to stay, but avoiding it and not ever looking at it and not ever taking control of just like what's coming in, what's coming out, of your accounts and things like that. I think that's something that I had to, again, learn, like, it's okay. Like my husband, he's actually a really good money guy. He's like, I know a cent when a cent is missing out of my account. I'm like, really? And he's like, yeah, like it's okay. That's how you are, able to stay on top of it and be okay with it. Embrace the good moments and the bad moments, but know that it's not permanent, wherever you are. If you never look at it, then you're not going to know what's really happening.
Yeah, I used to, like years ago, I didn't want to look at the numbers. I didn't want to look at my checking account, credit reports, nothing. Like I didn't want to see any of it because I felt like if I don't see it, I don't have to deal with it or address it.
Right.
Right. But then you start to realize, like when you want to like do certain things, like get a new car, or you're trying to get a certain job that checks your credit, then you realize, okay, now I have to deal with these issues so I can get my financial life together. But I do think that's really important. Don't be afraid of the numbers. You have to actually look at them. And I think the more you do it, you do become more comfortable, especially when you're trying to get closer to certain financial goals. It's good. Like there's no way around not looking at it.
Exactly. In personal, in business, I think personal is a little different because if you are in a career or you have a job and it's a set amount, it's going to stay there unless there's a raise or a bonus or something. But if you definitely, that's when you can either start thinking about, I know people do side hustles all the time. Well, what else can I do? Maybe it's something I like that is a hobby, or just I've been stagnant. It's time for me to level up. Maybe I got to switch jobs, and that's again, pivoting. It's okay. So business, I feel like we are a little bit more in control, or I'm sorry, entrepreneurs are a little bit more in control, where it's like you can make things work, if you put in the work. But when you're at a company or you're going off their salary or their base pay, then still looking at it, you can definitely still make changes and not, just feel like this is where I have to be. And this is all that there is at this point.
Yeah, I totally agree. I love that. So what about financially free, like being financially free? So I would like to know, what does that mean to you?
I like this question. Being financially free to me is obviously, I think there's going to be some debt that you have, like your cell phone bill, but the larger debts like student loans and, just things that you feel like you can't pay at the amount that you need to pay. Having none of those, I think being financially free of like those overhead, those large amounts, and this is something so small, but just honestly being able to give back to people, like whether it's buying all of your friends something for their birthdays, just so they can feel special. Because as adults, we don't get as many gifts as the children do. Or just if there's someone that needs help, with a charity or just, hey, I have this going on. Can you, front a certain amount or match this amount, just to be able to do that and not like, dang, I really want to help,
Yeah.
I think I get that from my grandmother. She was the type, I don't know how she did it. She was an insurance agent when you go door to door
Oh,
collecting
yeah.
insurance. Yeah. But she was really good and she was always a giver. So I don't know if that's something that I saw from her. Like she would just be able to give money, even if she didn't have it. I don't know what she was doing. But so that's to me what financially free is, just to kind of not have those large amount of debts and, any longer. And also being able to just give as much as you want to and not feel like it's something that's going to cause you to not have enough to take care of what you need to take care of.
Yes, I love that, especially the giving part. I'm a huge giver too. And like even when like the simple like being in the drive-thru and someone pays for your food, like
I know.
I get really excited when people do that because it's like it's always at the unexpected, like I didn't even
Yeah,
think that was gonna happen to me. Like I know people do it often and I've done it myself. Like
it
this
feels
was like
so
a
good.
couple months ago when I was in line at Starbucks and someone they say, "Oh, the person paid for your drink." Like I don't know. That just always makes me feel like not
Oh
just because
my gosh.
like not just because I save money, but just because like that was just
That
really
was
nice. Like,
thoughtful,
mhm,
very thoughtful and surprise. I'm going to do that next time. I like that. No one's ever done
yeah,
that to me, but I believe in like
really,
energy. You can spark
yeah.
something. Yeah.
Because to me, it just gives me confirmation that there's still nice people out there
Mm-hmm.
that genuinely want to give, that's not expecting anything in return. Because usually you don't even know who that person was. Like you saw them in front of you, but you don't know who they were, their name, or
Yep.
anything like that. And they don't know me. So I was just like, that is just so cool. And I
Mm-hmm.
remember seeing on the news recently how someone in a drive-through, I don't remember the name of the uh, food place, but
Mm-hmm.
someone paid for someone's and it was like a domino effect. Like it happened like several times. I forgot the number, don't want to say the wrong number, but it was like multiple people just kept doing it over and over.
Mm-hmm.
And it happened to be a story on the news. And I just like, see how that's why I feel like, when people do good stuff for people and they post it, and some people say, oh, you should do good deeds and not, post it. But I feel like sometimes it's helpful to
Sometimes we need
post
to
it
be
because
seen.
other people are actually inspired and like, you know what, I want to help too.
Yeah.
So I feel like I guess there's a balance where you don't have to post everything you do, but I think sometimes it's helpful because it does inspire other people to
Yeah.
help and give back. And one time, this was 2 years ago for my daughter's birthday. Her birthday is in August. And
Mm-hmm.
I asked her what she wanted to do one day. And she said she wanted to actually make like bags of like toiletries and little snacks and stuff for homeless people. There's like a section in downtown Dallas where a lot of homeless people are. So we made some little bags and we took it down there and like gave them out. Of course, it ran out really quick. We only had like
Yeah.
30 bags, but she thought of that herself. And I
That
just
was
felt
really,
so proud of her
that means you're doing
because,
good, Cleo.
yeah, it does. Because I was like, wow, because you just never know. Like, I told my daughter that could be us out there. Like you don't like everybody that's homeless doesn't mean they've been homeless forever or they're
Right.
bad people. Like people just experience stuff and they lose things or like a job or their incomes or their home. You just never know what people have been through.
Yep.
So I told my daughter like you have to have times in your life where you do give genuinely and not like expect anything in return. So that just made me feel good. So when you said giving, that's part of my financially free, you know, definition too, is that I want to be able in a position where I can give, whether if it's my time or money
Mm-hmm.
to help other people.
Yeah, I love that. We just moved to Atlanta, and my friend from middle school actually lives here, and he was like, "I'm
Cool.
about to do some, bags similar to what your daughter suggests." And I was like, "Really? When are you gonna do it?" And like we contributed, but then he did it so randomly. He's like, "I had to do it today, but this is how much we bought with everything." I think we fed like maybe like 200 people. It was like, yeah, all these little bags and stuff. It is fun just to do out of the blue, just it feels good. But I like the drive through idea. I'm gonna try that if I ever go through the drive through.
I know it's like if you don't go often, it's different to experience it, but it's like Yeah, like when it like I think out of my whole life it's probably happened like maybe 3 times, just
Mm-hmm.
scattered across the years. But I would always hear it happen to other people. And the first time it happened to me, I was like, oh, people really do this for real.
Energy is
So
following you.
it
That's what's
does.
happening.
So it did inspire me to help someone else. Like I didn't pay for someone's food in the drive-thru that day, but that was on a day where I was like already like organizing stuff at home and I was packing some bags to like give to the Goodwill, but I had went through my closet
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, you know what? Like I randomly go through my closet. I'm like, I'm not gonna wear this. Let me just go ahead and like
Mm-hmm.
pack it up. Like there's stuff I hold on to. I'm like, I think I'm probably gonna wear it this time. I know it's
And you
been over
never
a
do.
year,
You
two
never do though.
years. This is really all I wear, So I was like, let me just get rid of some of this stuff that's still in good condition that somebody else could wear. So
Right.
I'm always looking for ways to like give back, whether, it's not always money. Sometimes it's your time or just stuff that you have that somebody else would love to have. So
Yep. I
so
love that too.
yes, cool. So now I just want to learn more about you and your business. So I want everyone else out there to learn more about Kelli Fierce Fitness and Fierce Flex Method. So if you could tell us, what is it all about?
I love how you say it slower. It's so funny when I'm like talking to my stories. I just have to say like FFF method sometimes. And I think it's because I'm from the South. We talk so fast. So, yes, the Kelli Fierce Fitness brand was started just with personal training. And as I branched out and evolved and added in nutrition coaching, I created an online coaching program for career focused women, and it's called the Fierce Fit Flex Method, or FFF method for short. It definitely has a group component and a one-to-one component. So it just depends on what the woman is in need of. If she's super introverted or just like, hey, I just need you to myself, then one-to-one. And I think we've worked one-to-one because at one
Yeah.
point, that's just all I offered. But you're actually the type that would do amazing in a group just because you're you're very vocal. So now I do have a group option, but it's basically where I'm helping career focused women lose fat. And I like to say fat loss because it's a little bit specific from weight loss, but just work on their health and fitness goals. But
Mhm.
here's the key, Cleo. It's important to have sustainable tools and sustainable practices. So what I implement, and it's not like anything that I coined, but it's called the flexible nutrition approach or flexible dieting. And it teaches you the science of nutrition and incorporating calories and macros to be able to have foods that you love and like versus just, all right, I'm on a diet. I'm not going to eat anything. Like, women come to me like, can I have bread? Can I have rice? Like, yes, it's a carb. So that's what I do a great deal of teaching and honestly trying to allow them to unlearn some of the things that they have been taught about nutrition
Mhm.
because it's just not sustainable to be able to eat somewhat normal. Now, definitely we have to make changes in with our behaviors and habits and maybe I call it upgrading your foods. You can definitely have foods, but maybe it's the way that they're prepared, maybe it's what you combine them with to create a balanced meal. Have fruit, have vegetables, but it's okay to have a piece of chocolate or a glass of wine, and that's how you allow yourself to have a balanced approach, still working on your goals, but it's sustainable because the moment that you start taking things away, things that you enjoy, you're going to break. No one can stay that strict. No one. And, so that's pretty much what it's about. I just want women to know that they can reach their goals without doing honestly bodybuilding, dieting, which I'm a previous bodybuilder. And those are really tough. Even I struggled with them after the fact until I learned flexible nutrition
Yeah.
and just understanding how to create, like I said, balanced meals and, taking away the calories and macros at a certain point, you'll
Yeah.
be able to still eat things that you like and not feel like it's good or bad, or I can't have that one thing, and we only look at that one thing versus all of the other amazing things that you have had in your day, from walking and water and fruit and vegetables, and it's okay to have that one thing. So that's pretty much what the program is all about.
Yeah. And I like now, yeah, before you had the group, we did have that one-on-one training that I had with you before. And the reason why I liked it was because I like that you let us know that it doesn't have to be the strict, because that's what I kind of grew up on. Like, if you're gonna lose some weight or get fit or get toned, like you got to cut out bread and, potatoes and cookies and
So
just
crazy.
all of that stuff. And you don't have that type of approach. Like, I like how you really ask us, all the questions about the foods we actually like to eat, so
Mm-hmm.
you can figure out a way, like, how we can really still, stick to our
Incorporate
goals.
it. Mm-hmm.
And when I would see like pictures of other women who and lost weight and got fit, and I was like, and they talk about the strict diet that they had, and I'm like I would get really defeated, because
Yeah.
I would start and then I would stop, and then I'd be like, oh, is this really for me? And you
Mm-hmm.
can really get discouraged when you see everyone's, best pictures. And I remember
Yeah.
one time you took I don't know if it was on your stories or your page, but you talked about people's, like, pictures that they take, and how what we may not see the few seconds before, like it's the angles and the,
Mm-hmm.
sucking it in,
The lighting,
yeah.
first thing in the morning photos, empty stomach, your body does look snatched or different, if you're
Hmm.
already super fit, but it's not how it looks at 3 p.m. or 4 p.m. when you've had a lot of water, or you've, had 3 meals or 2 meals already. Yeah.
Hmm.
And I'm happy that you mentioned that. It can be defeating to think like you have to do all of those things to become your best version, not the woman version that you saw, but your best version. And maybe that's her best version. Maybe that's what she wants, to be super restrictive and to not have, again, a glass of wine, or have, I don't know what I eat. I'm eating like little big Newton bars now, to have whatever you want, but if that's a part of what you see for yourself as something that you can continue, because that's the biggest thing. You can lose the body weight, you can lose the body fat, but can you maintain that process?
Mm.
And the only way you can maintain it is to somewhat enjoy it and somewhat say, okay, well, I do like eating Greek yogurt, but I need to put some things in it. It's okay. Or I do need to have, toast with jelly on it. It's okay. So it's just about learning those techniques and not feeling like it has to be all or one way. I'm only plant based. I'm only vegan, like all of these labels. And it's nothing against those things, because
Mhm.
it works for some people, but then there's a group of people that just like, I like all of it and I don't want too many labels. I know I need more plants and more vegetables. I'm sorry, no, more vegetables and more fruit, and more water and things like that. But I also don't want to be shamed for having a piece of chicken, maybe a chicken wing, but guess what? It's in the air fryer versus at Wingstop. So
Right.
those are like little things that you can learn to create your lifestyle that's realistic for you. I'm a huge advocate of the air fryer. Everybody knows I've been talking about the air fryer for like over 6 years now, maybe. Yeah. And I just think if that's better than me going to the fast food spots, and I want to have it occasionally, and I'm going to pair it with a large, serving of vegetables and some rice or something,
Mhm.
that's totally fine too. And there's no like, it's just all about meeting the client where they are, and teaching them the things that they need to learn so they can take it throughout their journey.
Yeah. Yeah, the air fryer, you were one of the reasons why I bought an air fryer. Like, I had other people that I follow that had posted about it, but I know you always talking about the food and the meals and ways to make, food, like meals that you actually enjoy, and you really not, in the kitchen for hours either, because I don't like to be in the kitchen for hours.
Yeah, the oven is long.
It is. And I like, for example, like if I want to eat chicken, like I was really never the type that likes to just fry chicken, but I would like it grilled. But like when I put it in the air fryer, I was like, I think I like frying it in the air fryer, maybe because it's quicker.
Yeah.
But
And it give a
I
little crunch if you need it.
yeah, I definitely like a crunch. Like when you mentioned on your stories when they're about Chick-fil-A chicken.
Oh yeah.
I was like, that is so true. That is really true, because I do like the crispy
Hmm.
crunch, when I'm biting into some chicken. But I just like how you explain to us and have us understand that our progress is our progress too. And that just because I didn't lose 5 pounds in a week doesn't mean that I'm not progressing or doing well, or just because I had the extra cookie doesn't mean that what I've been doing for the last weeks or months is
Hmm.
nothing. Like, just
That
pick
is
up
always.
where you
Mhm.
were.
Yeah.
So that's what I like about you, is that you actually make it fun and exciting to learn about it, because I wasn't used to reading labels at all, counting
Because it's
calories.
like, what am I looking at? It's a few things on there, and it's like, what do I need to get out of this label? And by
Yeah.
the way, 5 pounds in a week, girl, I don't know if you just threw out that number, but it's people that literally think that that's normal. It's like not normal. It's
No.
not weight. It's not actual. It's weight, possibly, maybe some water weight, maybe
Mhm.
some other stuff, but it's definitely not fat loss, which is why I put that word, or when I talk about fat loss, you want to lose body fat, um, because you're going to always drink water. You're going to always have water or weight water fluctuations and things like that. So
Mhm.
yeah, I'm glad that you liked it, that
I
you
did.
enjoyed it and learned something from it as well.
I did. I loved it. Another thing I want to share is I did a Daniel's fast with this group like 2 years ago. So
Mm-hmm.
that was like the first time I think that I really was like looking at labels. A friend of mine was like, "Can you do this Daniel's fast?" I had never done one, but I was like, "Okay, I'll do this with her just to, do it together." And then I realized how it's like you don't like eat like no sugar, no caffeine, like no nothing. So I was trying to find like some crackers with no
Yeah.
sugar. And I went to the store and I was just like, when I think of crackers, I'm not even thinking that sugar is in most crackers.
But
And
it
I was
is.
looking on the shelves. I was like, I cannot find one box of crackers. I think I went to Kroger's, I went to Walmart, I was at Target. I was like, I can't. Now I don't know if it's more options at like I do go to Trader Joe's and Whole Foods too, but this particular time I had only went to Kroger, like Target and Walmart, and I was like, I cannot find any
All of them said sugar
crackers
on
with
the
sugar.
back.
Yeah, but I just thought that was interesting how I think sugar is in more things than we realize.
Mm-hmm. It's in a
And
lot.
growing up, my mom baked cakes and pies all the time, and she always got me candy. So growing up, I was already like addicted to sugar. I don't eat sugar as much as I used to, but I still eat and drink things that has sugar in it. But
Mm-hmm.
that just, when I mentioned labels, that made me remember the time when I was trying to find just a basic cracker to
Mm-hmm.
snack on, and I couldn't find any with no sugar in it. So it's just helpful to learn how to read labels and understand what it is. I'm still a work in progress of, learning what things mean, but going through your program, like even macros, like I didn't really understand that at all. So you don't just give us like the basic stuff, like you really like dig deep so we can understand like the whole process. So that's what I like about you.
Thank you. Yeah, I try to. And, I always feel the client out to make sure that it's what they're ready to experience, because, there's some people that's just like, it's too much and then it becomes
Yeah.
overwhelming. So I try to do a good assessment of where they are. And you're definitely the client that's like, okay, well, what is this? And can you help me understand it more? So, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's so interesting that you say that sugar is in a lot of things. It's in a lot of stuff, which is why it's not the biggest concern in
Yeah.
most cases, but it tells you it's in almost everything that's processed, a little bit more packaged and processed. So
Mm-hmm. And when it comes to like nutrition and like fitness, so what are some things that we can do? Because I think like, at the beginning of the year, we all have our, fitness and money goals that we're trying to like
hmm
start on. But when it comes to like fitness and nutrition, like what are some things that we can do like starting today for those who have either haven't started at all or maybe we've fallen off track already? Like what can we do, whether if we're working out at home or
hmm
in the gym, because some people are still back out in the gym because a lot
yeah.
of places are still open. But I guess it's a personal preference. So I know some people, I have just in my apartment complex, there's a small gym. Don't have a whole lot of options, but people still use that and go to the regular gyms. But
hmm
I think some people still feel kind of overwhelmed or feel like they should just quit because their New Year goals didn't go out the way they thought. So, starting today, like if we want to start fresh, like what are a couple things we can start doing today?
Moving, walking. I like to use the term keep it simple, stupid, and not like calling anybody stupid, but it's just sometimes we overlook some of the most simple things that we can do, you know, even if you're not a weightlifter, even if you don't have weights, just going for 3 walks or 2 walks, you know, and it doesn't have to be a certain time. If you're not used to walking at all, going for a 10-15 minute walk is going to be a big difference for you twice a day for 5 days a week. You know what I mean? So sometimes even just doing the smallest things that we're like, well, that's not enough. You know, I need to go work out. I need to do this. And it's like, you can compound it. So I would say from the simplest thing that you can do is just honestly walking. A lot of people have these Apple Watches, you know, I'll say the Apple Watch. They have the Apple Watch and don't use it for the health component, you know? I think it tracks steps. I'm pretty sure it does because my client's connected to the app that we use. But even if you have a Fitbit that's like, oh, I don't use a Fitbit, put the Fitbit on. Start looking at how much you move, you know? Paying attention to like, if you only got 2,000 steps, don't try to jump to 10,000. All that's a good number, but maybe just try to get an additional 1,000 the next day. So it's just about building and challenging yourself in little mini, you know, micro movements, so it doesn't feel overwhelming. And then as you start to really appreciate and somewhat like it, and I'm not going to say love it, but look forward to it and like, okay, let me get some walks in. It allowed me to feel, you know, a lot more relaxed. I was stressful. I could have did this, but I walked. As you start to enjoy it, then you can start adding more things in, you know, and if it's someone that's already working out, but can't be consistent, then I would say reestablish why you want to do it. Like what's the reason you want to be consistent? Why is this even important? Start asking those serious questions. And then you'll be able to at least hold yourself to it when it's time, when you find yourself wanting to stop. I always say it's like the fail safe of your journey, because it's going to be so many things pulling you away, you know? And if it's something like, oh, I just want to go do happy hour or something just to have some socialization, that's cool too. But it shouldn't allow you to feel like, oh, the week is over. I'll start back next week. It's like, what about the next day? You skipped, you know, it's okay to take a second and take a step away for what you actually need to, you know, make you happy at that moment. Maybe it's not at the gym. Maybe you had a stressful day and you just need to get out and have some laughter. But then the next day, it's literally going back to what you intended to do. So I like to say also set non-negotiables. So establishing your why and setting non-negotiables. And that non-negotiable just means, okay, no matter what, I'm going to do a walk, or no matter what, I'm going to do 2 days of workouts, or no matter what, I'm not going to go a week without working out, or I'm not going to, if I miss 1 week, it's not like the month is over. So it's like whatever works for you, because everyone is stimulated so differently that it has to, you know, mine is going to be probably more extreme than someone else's, you know? So starting with the walk, the next is starting with, you know, 2 workouts or 3 workouts, whatever you can stick with for like 6 months. Like if 2 days a week is enough and you like, okay, this doesn't feel too horrible, I still have a lot, then stick with it. And then you can continue. Now, it may not directly relate to fat loss or weight loss. You know, that's just simply finding an appreciation for the journey, for the lifestyle, because fat loss and weight loss is definitely something I think that requires a little bit more focus. But if you just want to feel better about yourself and feel good, especially during the pandemic, a panorama. Right. I like when people say that we're in a panorama. Then the simplest thing is just getting out and getting walking and, you know, finding something that at least makes you feel good. People are doing YouTube dances. I think those can be fun, you know, just take the expectations off of like, well, I didn't lose a pound this week. It's like, you're trying to, again, take baby steps to get yourself to like show up and get comfortable with the process itself. So just have fun at this moment. But then again, once you have shown yourself like, okay, this is becoming a part of my lifestyle and I like it, then you can start being a little bit more specific to what your goals are.
Yes, I love that. I think a lot of us, when you mentioned what about the next day? I think so many people feel that way. Even I've been guilty of that. If I didn't work out the way I wanted to work out this week, I'm like, oh, I start over on Sunday or Monday or the first. I'll wait till the first of next month. And it's like, why do we do that? Like, why do we feel like we have to wait to a brand new week or month to start over when tomorrow is a new day?
It's the all or nothing mindset. To be honest, a lot of career focused women, a lot of women that are just like
Yeah.
super driven. It's like, it's over, like, and I'm like, is that how it is at work? I always have to give these comparisons. So like, if you mess up at work, are you just going to not finish the rest of the week and be like, it's over? I'm like, no. I'm like, well, why do you feel that way about your health journey? And I think it's because the women I work with are so good in their careers. Like, they're just like, well, I'm good at what I do, that they put that on a pedestal. And I'm like, no, you didn't get that good overnight. You worked your way up to it. So it's the same with fitness. It's the same with nutrition. And I think when we put it on such a high pedestal and make it so unattainable, that's when we start to notice we're falling off track. We're quitting. It's like, find something that you can stick with.
Yeah. And remember, you guys, you do not have to wait till next month or
No.
next week. You can start even today. You can start
Even today, a walk, even, oh my gosh, a walk. Everybody can do a walk. And I think it's because many people think walking, like, what is that really going to do? Again, it's getting you moving one step closer to, like, exercising is moving. Training is is super intentional. Like, you're following a program, you're following sets, you're trying to get mentally focused. But if you're not even moving before that, just to have someone jump up and like, all right, let's get into this. You just need to get your body moving. And during this time, a lot of us are not going into the office or not going about our day of, being around as many people because we're in a pandemic. So I'm like, that's the one thing you can give to yourself is just walking, which is, I mean, we're blessed to be in a good city with good weather. Yeah. Obviously, if I was still in Chicago, it's snowing, but so when you have those moments, yeah, you can probably walk in the snow because they're going to probably shovel, but then appreciate, okay, well, just last week it was snowing, I couldn't walk. So let me be, a little bit more proactive and take advantage because I know the weather is a little different where I am.
Yeah. Just got to get up and get out there and just start.
Just go for it. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for those tips. Cause today I haven't worked out yet today, but I am this afternoon. So I definitely like to do the walking. Like years ago, I used to underestimate walking, but I always had a job where I'm like sitting at a desk all the time. And I remember people used to say, you should get up and take your break and walk around, and how sitting down all day and not moving at all is, not good for your back and your hips and all of that. And I didn't understand all of that years ago, but like now that I've gotten older and, like your body's changing and you're not some little young teenager or young 20-year-old. So it's like we have to take care of our bodies too. So that's something that I keep in mind. Like when I get that like lazy feeling like, oh, I'm gonna do it tomorrow. And I'm like, no, Cleo, get on up. But even if my day doesn't go the way I planned, now I'm reminding myself, just like you said, now it's just more confirmation that Cleo, still just jump right back in there. You don't have to wait till next month or next week.
Yes. I think once we take away that mindset around like it's over or I didn't do it and just go for it. But yeah, walking, I mean, when I was in middle school, we walked so much. We walked around the track over and over and over. That was what they had us do. We were just walking. So when you say we're getting older, we are, because we're getting older because we're not moving as much. So if we can find ways to move, like after this setting that we're doing, get up and go walk, even if it's for 10 minutes. So that's my biggest thing, is just to walk. Walk. That's the one thing that all of us are fortunate enough that we're blessed to do, if you can. And it's just as important.
Yes. Thanks for those confirmations, because we all need those reminders. So we're going to start getting moving today.
Yes.
All right. So I want to learn a little bit more about you outside of fitness, of course. So these are just a few questions I'll ask you, and then, of course, just share with us.
Okay.
So the first one is, what is your favorite food? Now, I know you post a lot of food on your stories, they all look good. I'm like, I wish you just come to my house and cook.
And I can't even cook that well. I just I try to make something like, oh, I'm gonna try to make it. And I'm not that great of a cook, but thank you. I'll take that compliment.
You're welcome. But out of all the cool foods and meals that you make, what do you feel is your favorite food or meal?
I love a good cheeseburger. I'm
Hmm.
not gonna say hamburger because I want cheese on it. I love a good burger. And I'm not talking about like fast food. I mean like a good quality restaurant burger
Hmm.
with good quality beef. I like the beef. I love bison. And I like, even if I make it at home, I do like a leaner cut beef. I don't like too much grease on my burger. So I love a good burger. Oh,
Yes.
I love
Ooh,
burgers. Some people love pizza. Give me a burger.
burger girl.
Yes.
What's your favorite place that you've traveled to? And what's a place that you haven't been to before that you're looking forward to visiting?
I would say my favorite place was Montego Bay. I had my wedding in Jamaica. I loved it. I loved
Mm.
it. Food was good. Everything was just great about it.
Yeah.
And I want to go to Greece. I want to go to Santorini. So
Oh,
it
that's
just
on
looks
my
so
list.
beautiful.
Yes, that's on my list too. Yeah, the pictures are just like I'm sure it's like 100 times better in person when you
Hmm.
see it, but that's a place I haven't been to either. And with like COVID and stuff, y'all know traveling experiences have changed, but just seeing those types of pictures and like when I see people, with their nice little colorful
The
outfits and
thing,
dresses.
I'm like, did they plan that or can you get that there?
I know. And I was like, was the wind blowing? Is always blowing a perfect way for it to just be all, or is
I want
that,
to do that too.
I'm like,
Yes.
is that just, yeah. I know sometimes it can be a lot of, like when you see pictures, like travel pictures, sometimes it's like an actual picture. And sometimes you have to do some extra stuff behind the scenes to get the
Right.
picture to look a certain way. But yes, Greece is definitely on my list. Don't know when, but, but I hope to soon.
Yeah.
All right. What's your favorite movie?
Ooh. I have a few, but I'm gonna go with one that I watch no matter, like I'm gonna always watch it. So that's what I'm gonna say. That's probably my favorite. I Am Legend. And it's like just him and this dog. I watch that movie every time it comes on. I don't know. I just love it. I like
Yeah.
those like apocalypse, zombie, science went wrong. Everybody, like I always say, how would I react or how would I show up in an apocalypse? Like I just feel like I'm ready, even though I've never fired a gun or anything. But I like those kind of movies. I would say I Am Legend.
I like that one too. And I like those type of movies too, to the point where I was on like either Netflix or Amazon Prime. I think it was Amazon Prime, just looking for new movies to watch. Like since the pandemic hit, like I literally just been, I love movies, but I really been watching more just movies instead of like TV.
Mm-hmm.
And I found this movie, I think it was like Tokyo, in Tokyo, but it wasn't in English. Like, but I always said I didn't like watching movies with subtitles. Like, I'm like, I don't want
Mm-hmm.
to read and try to do all of that. But that movie was so good. It was about like a zombie movie, and it was good to the
I
point
know the
where
name of
I'm
it.
gonna have to get the name of it because I was like, anytime I've watched them, I pull up a movie and it's like not, and it got subtitles. I'm like, no, I'm not
Mm-hmm.
watching that. But this one, it like I saw the preview, the trailer, and I
Mm-hmm.
was like, that trailer looked real good. And I watched the whole, it's like a 2 hour movie, but it was
Yes,
actually
yes, yes.
good to the point where that's when I know a movie is good when I read the subtitles because I don't like to read subtitles on movies, but I'm gonna have to share
Right.
it with you just in case you may want to check it out.
Yeah, no, I love zombie movies.
But I'm Legend is good. And you're right. I had that moment too where I'm like, it's really just him and the dog throughout the, like really
Sam.
the whole movie.
Sam
I
died.
know. I was sad about that. Me and my daughter, we were just like, oh no, not the dog. And then, yeah, it was a good movie. So I like that one too.
It's crazy that I know the dog name. Her name was Samantha.
Yeah. It's like, oh, poor dog. It's like the worst thing to have to, you know.
Yeah, oh, I get it. I have a
No.
dog. I don't like when dogs get hurt in movies or in real life, but like in movies, I'm like,
I know. It's like it's like your heart's just ripped out.
hmm.
But yeah, I'm a big movie head. I love to watch movies all the time. So for you, what is something that you like to do when you're not working
Mm,
or working out?
oh, so when I'm not, I actually do like working out a lot. Like it's fun for me.
Yeah.
Outside of that, I actually like to dance. I always chicken out of going to dance classes because it's that challenge for me of like, oh my gosh, how do I remember this 8 count? So I always say I need to find like a good intermediate, like where it's challenging, but not where I'm afraid to go out when they're like, all right, next group, and you go out. I never want to go out because I'm like, I can't remember on the spot and everybody's just looking at me. So I do love to dance. Just by myself, like at home, and dance classes and stuff like that. I just need to do it.
Yeah. Like people that I follow, when I see them in like a dance class, I always tell myself that, oh, I should take one. But it's been a minute since I've been to a dance class where I have to remember choreo real fast.
Yes.
And I have that same feeling like, oh, my memory with remembering choreo is just like not good.
Hard. Even like the more sensual classes, I'm like, my body don't move the way. I'm like, I'm looking like stiff Stephanie over here. So
Me, because I'll be in my living room, like in the mirror, dancing and stuff. And I'm like, I should go to a class. Like I'm gonna be in here with all the pros or the regulars, that's been there like almost every week or every month.
Yeah.
But it's been like, I don't even remember last time I took a real dance class.
I don't either. I mean, I definitely I probably should get like a one-on-one person. Like, because I want to pick the song. I'm like, can you teach me a dance to this song? Because certain songs, that's not realistic, but that's kind of what I want. Like, okay, can you teach me a dance to this song? Because I really like this song. I need to probably find a one-on-one dance.
Little one-on-one sessions.
Yeah.
Before actual big class. Because you know how they do now. You got to go into groups.
It's so big. And I don't like it. I'm too scared. I need more practice. But I like any type of like just movement activity. I love skating. I used to skate a lot. I'm going to probably start back doing that with a friend. But dance and skate, anything that involves music, I'm with it.
Okay, cool. Me too. And money, $500,000. So I want to know, what would Ashley do? The first 3 things you would do if you had $500,000 right now.
Ooh, $500,000. Because that's a good amount, but it's not that much. That's where I am with my money mindset now. Like I would have been like, oh, I'm like, that's all you want to give me, Cleo? Okay.
Right.
Because I'm like questioning, I'll pay off my debt. I'll pay off the student loans. Mm-hmm. And then I'm going to invest. No, actually, let me rewind that. I'm going to pay off my debt, and then I'm going to do something nice for myself, and then I'm going to invest. Dang, I only get 3.
Well, just the first 3 things.
Okay, the first 3 things. I'm going to pay off my debt, do something nice for myself, because paying off the debt is nice for me too, but I want to do something nice for myself. And like I'm going to incorporate my husband into that, like something nice for us. Okay. And then I'm going to look at how I can invest in my business and contribute to whether it's either adding some additional, layers to it, merchandise, apparel, something like that. Kind of like, be my own investor. So, but yeah, that would probably be the first 3 things.
Yes, I love that. I'm all for the investing in ourselves, but also, like you said, doing something for you and your husband. We got to have some relaxation and some fun too in our life. So
yeah, I do believe in. I like to pay yourself first. Because especially as an entrepreneur, it's like you're just trying to continuously grow and make it, and you forget yourself. And I've gotten to a place where I separate the 2 now.
Yeah.
It took some work, but I've separated the 2. It's Kelli Fierce Fitness, and then there's Ashley in the business. So as an employee of Kelli Fierce Fitness.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I want to do something nice, like again, that giving piece, whether it's like, let's go on the trip, or let me buy you something, let me buy myself something. And then, and I'm not going to blow it, obviously, and then get back to business so I can figure out a way to compound that amount.
Right.
Because I need more than that.
Yeah. Like at 20 years old, I would be like, ooh, I'm rich,
Right.
But now,
yeah,
realize that can be gone so fast. Like you realize like, dang, where did it go? Like when when they have those stories about people who like win the lottery and then like 2, 3, 5 years later, they don't have it anymore. And people are like, well, how did it go that fast? Like,
I can tell you a few reasons, and I'm not even a money coach. The mindset. I mean, it's like you lose weight in 21 days and you can't maintain the results. It's kind of the same.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
that is so true.
Yeah.
Just because you get a whole lot of money doesn't mean you, like you said, the mindset that you have the right mindset to actually manage it well and make it work for you like long term.
Mm-hmm.
Like that mindset is huge.
Yeah. I would probably hire someone to help me figure out what can I do to make this, work for me the best way.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Ooh, that's important too. We got some good ones. Yeah, we'll add that fourth one right on in there because that's important too. If you
Yeah.
getting someone to help you make some decisions about this
Mm-hmm.
money, just to make sure you on the right track. That's
Yeah.
another way of investing in yourself too. So
Definitely.
I love
Definitely.
it. So then
Thank
we have
you.
the financial affirmation card. So I'm just going to pull a random one and you tell me how it makes you feel or how it relates to your own journey.
Okay.
All right.
Let's go.
Yours is I accept unlimited sources of income and wealth.
Oh, that makes me feel really good. I received that first off. I like that the affirmation. You have to send that to me so I can write that every day.
Yes.
It just worthy. It just makes me feel really good. Accepting that again, I am worthy and that I don't want to say deserve, and I deserve good things. And yeah, I like that. It makes me feel really good. I like that.
Well, that's something that I've learned too is that things that I like want and desire, and go like those limiting beliefs about things. And if I want something, am I mentally is for it in my life? So that's one of the reasons why I like to recite and write like affirmations. Like, yeah, I know we got to put in the work too, but it's important to think, feel, and speak and say certain things good to us. And that's going to help us, personally and professionally. So
Yeah.
I love that one too. And yes, you will be getting this.
Thank you. But yeah, to piggyback off what you said too, your subconscious, the more you teach it and to continuously say things, even if you don't believe it at the moment, it will start to believe it. It doesn't know the difference of what you're saying over and over versus like what's actually happening. So I like to say, yes, keep saying those things to yourself, because at some point you're going to believe it, and then hopefully your behaviors and your actions start to match what you're already thinking about yourself. That's why I
Yeah.
think people that's like, oh, that are really, they call them cocky or confident people, but I feel like those people, they will literally figure out how to make anything work, and because they don't allow their subconscious to think those negative and those limiting beliefs. So I believe in that.
Oh,
I
yes.
don't say things like I'm broke or anything like that. I hate when people, I hate such a strong word. I just think it's like so many other ways that you can speak about yourself. And to say I'm broke, I'm like, I don't want to stay in that status. I'm not broke.
Right.
I'm just going to make better money decisions at this moment. That's something that's not within my budget, but it will be. Like I speak like that. I just think the words are very powerful.
It is. And I remember I used to say broke a lot, even if I'm just, saying it in a joking way. But I was talking to my sister. I'm like, even saying it in a joking way, we're still putting it out there,
Your subconscious.
saying the word broke. And I'm like, no, I'm not broke. I'm not saying that.
I'm rich.
I'm not claiming that. Nope, I'm not
I'm
saying
rich.
Right, right. Whatever I want, I'm going to say, even if I'm not sure like how I'm going to get it or get there. I'm still a work in progress. And it's like, I feel like when I look back on things that I have received, I know I did because my mindset changed and I started thinking and talking differently about it. Not that I'm perfect, but I do believe that there is power in using affirmations and saying certain things and not using the words broke, because we're putting it out there. Like if we say we broke and we still like struggling in areas, like have you thought about what you like the stuff that you say to yourself every day?
Exactly.
You gotta like work. It's not easy transition away from having those thoughts. It's a work in progress, like with anything else. But yeah, like I can't tell myself, I can't do this week because I'm broke. Like, no, I'm not saying that.
Yeah. I mean, that works for so many things. I agree. Writing is something that I've had to work on, like being able to write captions and write things to, on my social media. And I would say like, oh, I hate, and then I had to quickly switch my mindset, like, I don't hate it, like I embrace it, or I'm a great writer, and it took so much pressure off of myself. And then things just started to flow a little bit better. So it works like that. And it works like that for money, works like that for your fitness, your health goals, saying you're fat. It's like, no, you have some excess fat. That could be true, but you're not fat. Like, that's a label and that's, some people embrace that label, and I don't deny that either. I think that can be powerful to take control of that word as well. But I just think what you start to tell yourself is, obviously you're going to start to really believe it and stay in that space, versus, like you said, like, I'm going to speak to where I'm trying to go and to what I want for myself, even if I don't have it at this moment. Like I always, what's her name? Nene Leakes. She was like, I'm rich. And I don't honestly think she was rich at the time when she was saying it. But, she just felt that way about herself. Like, I deserve this. I'm rich. So I think we should normalize saying that,
Yes.
and speaking really good affirmations about ourselves, even if it sounds like, oh my gosh, I don't even know, eventually it will start to sound normal and you will feel that you are worthy for it.
Yes, and you'll start to receive all that stuff that you've been speaking out there. So that's what we got to work on. Anyone out there listening, remember, don't be afraid to speak it. Even if you're a little nervous or afraid to say it out loud around other people, just spend some time by yourself saying it out loud. You don't necessarily have to make a PSA, but you can just have quiet time to yourself and say it out loud. So I definitely believe there's power in that.
Oh, I love that.
So last question here for you, Ashley. So I want to know, what advice would you give to yourself today? I know most times we're asked, what advice would we give to our younger selves? But I want to know, what advice would you give to yourself right now?
That you are on the right path, that you aren't behind, that everything that you're working hard for is coming for you because you deserve it. And again, you're worthy of it. And, you're running your own race. And just the main thing is you're on the right path. Just keep going. Like, just keep going.
Yes, thank you. And that's a reminder for me too. Can't compare ourselves to other people's journeys.
You have to put blinders on.
Yes, we do. So we can stay focused on what we're trying to get to. So I love that. And I really appreciate you talking with me today. I'm excited of all the things that you shared. And I know a lot of people out there have got a lot of insight on how they could do better in their nutrition and fitness goal journeys. So if you could just let us know how we can connect with you, support you in your business, and for those who want to join your Fierce Flex method.
Thank you. So I'm always on Instagram, obviously, at Kelli Fierce, Kelli, Fierce, Fierce. That's one way to get in contact with me. Also in the bio, there's a few links, options for one-on-one, group, or just if you want to send me a message. And right now for February, I have a virtual training session for the Saturdays left in this month. So for the love of February. I don't know why I just made that up. So that's something, if they're like, oh, I like what she's saying, let me join a session. So I wanted to do that for my ladies, just to kind of give them something to look forward to on Saturday morning, because maybe midday during the week is a lot. Also, you can email me at kellifiercefitness@gmail.com. Or, like I said, the easiest way is through Instagram. In the bio, there's a link that says, I have a question for you. So yeah, and thank you so much for having me, Cleo. I really appreciate you for just honestly reaching out, like, hey, let me chat with you. So I've been seeing you do your thing, and I think it's dope. And like I told you before we started recording, that this repetition, girl, you're going to have your talk show very soon.
Put it out there in the universe.
You got to put it out there. Talk show, paid sponsors, all of that. Yep.
I receive it.
Yep.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it, because that is definitely a goal on my list. But I'm so excited that you accepted the invite. So I really appreciate you taking the time to talk with me. It's been really great. It just went by. It always goes by so fast. But everyone out there listening, please connect with Ashley and follow her on Instagram, because she's always giving a whole lot of tips every single day. Fitness, nutrition, all that you need, and definitely inquire about her program so you can get your fitness life together, nutrition goals together.
Yes.
And although this is the end of the show, before I go, I always want to encourage you to just take every day one step at a time, but also just do your best. That's all we can do, is just do our best every single day. And as you navigate through your financial journey, don't wonder what if, take a risk, and I'll see you next week.
Love that.
You can be financially free with Cleo.